We have to be confident and say, you're not coming for 2 weeks to Sri Lanka to eat Swiss cheese or Argentinian steak or Scottish salmon. You're coming to experience the Sri Lanka, what the locals eat. We give that with confidence.
Hiran Cooray was quite young when he took on the family business, Jetwing, then a budding hotels company. In the several decades since, he has built a company and a series of properties often seen as ahead of their time. On Echelon's Rocketship Experience, we have Hiran Cooray with us in the studio, and he's here to talk about travel as a solution to the economy, to the planet, and to the communities. Hiran, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Sharindra.
Hiran, so I was looking at this and you've been in the industry 35 long years, right? Is it, when you look back, do you think the pace of change in tourism, in the hotel industry, has accelerated in the last decade or so?
Most certainly. It makes me sound like a very old man when you say 35 long years. To me, it's as if I started yesterday, because it's every day I learn something new. But be that as it may, yes, it has changed a lot. I think the main thing is when I got into the business under my father's wings, it was in the marketing front, we had only one way to sell a destination, say Sri Lanka, for example. It was only through the tour operators, the brochures, your package tours, and that was it. Now, the ball game has completely changed when it comes to marketing, positioning a destination, a hotel or a product or service, whatever. That is the biggest change I see.
Right.
Then, of course, a lot of thought has gone into the tourism hospitality field. A lot of words have been coined as well. You talk of ecotourism, sustainable tourism, responsible tourism. All these words were not there when I joined. It was just, okay, how our company became so focused on the environment and the communities is because of my father's views on, bit of a socialist he was. He always felt that, you had to look after the communities, you had to look after the environment. And with that, our ethos, already had fallen in place by the time all these lovely words were coined: ecotourism, sustainable tourism, responsible tourism, all of that. So I think these are the two main changes also in design. Hotel designs, for example, Jeffrey Bava's of the world came in and, Bava created so many spaces. So the other younger architects also learned, because there were no hotel design guidebooks in the past, right? So now these were the people who created those spaces for the younger architects to study. And everybody liked to design hotels as against a commercial building or a house, because it got more prominence, all of that. So in design as well, it came into...
So you're talking about three things you think change has happened and where change is accelerating. Marketing, the fact that people put the planet first and people put communities alongside the planet, so the impact that you're having there, and of course how design is driving this, right? How do you think in Sri Lanka the investment potential aligns with this changing expectation? Is it there? Are there investors in Sri Lanka that also see these challenges as one thing, one package?
Yes. Sri Lanka is you and I know we are blessed with a beautiful country, right? You go from mountains to the ocean, to the wildlife parks, to cultural centers, religious sites, you name it, we have it in a very compact nation. So all the ingredients for tourism is there. We've had 10 great years. 2009 to 2019 was fabulous for tourism. Came to a position where we couldn't even handle some of the tourists that were coming. We had to tell our people, don't accept any more bookings, because we didn't have transport, we didn't have hotel accommodation, we didn't have guides. So it came to that level one time, and then suddenly, of course, we had three main issues which kind of put us back a bit. The one in the middle, the COVID, put the whole world back. But of course, our two specific incidents also pushed us back, But, now we are emerging out of that once again. And when things settle down, as we see it settling down now, back again the investment opportunity comes in, Shavindra. That's for sure.
What's the sort of investment do you think the industry needs? There, I suppose, has over time been some investment in building rooms, right?
Yeah.
That's a fundamental thing. I guess you need rooms.
Sure.
But we've also seen Airbnb and other ways for people, ordinary people, to get involved in the industry. When you, as a big hotel room operator and owner, look at this, what do you think is the mix of investment Sri Lanka needs?
See, I think this Airbnb, selling your own home experience, is a wonderful thing. Provided that they pay their dues to the state, the taxes and the safety precautions are taken place. I think that's excellent. On our front, my personal view is Sri Lanka should go in for mega projects. We are a small island, compact island. We shouldn't have massive high rises. Right. Especially, city I can understand. Right. City is a compact city that needs to go vertically. But on the beaches, in the cultural areas, wildlife parks, we should never allow anything over the coconut tree, which was the unwritten law Sri Lanka had. Already that has been, flaunted, and people have built way above.
You don't have anything over a coconut tree, I suppose.
At the moment, no.
Lighthouse may be at coconut tree level.
We made sure that we have a few coconut trees above that. Okay. So therefore, I think it's important that we maintain certain standards, because I think, let's say we are targeting 2 million tourists or 3 million tourists in a given good year. While we count the heads, we also must count the return from each of those heads, sure. Right? So if we are earning $200 to $250 a day from each head that is staying in our country, that means then we are doing our tourism good. So again, we'll have the Airbnbs and the homestays, and then we'll have the accommodation, which is a more formal sector, the hotels, providing accommodation, and that we will hopefully be a mix earning, and the shopping and the food income will earn at least $200 to $250 a day per person on average.
Are you, as a established hotel operator, part of your business is listed as individual hotels, and also you now have this new company that brings together some hotel properties, but then you have your legacy business, which is, I suppose, the larger part of what Jetwing is, where you have the hotels that you built over the last 30 years or so are in that, right? When you look at what you want to invest, what Jetwing wants to invest in, do you see still a lot of rooms that you need to build? How would you see investment going forward?
Currently, Jetwing will not build for the next couple of years at least, for the simple reason that we expanded rapidly during the last 10 years. 10 years means 2010 to 2020. We opened hotels in a lot of areas where no person had dared to go. Potuville, for example, Velavaya, then Jaffna. So we built in areas where we had to promote the destination and then market the hotel. So it was quite a challenge, but we enjoyed those challenges. When my father went to Gaul, we had to market Gaul. Nobody overnighted in Gaul at that time. This was 1995 when he started building there. So likewise, we also went to Velavaya, Potuville, and so on. But of course, we have also borrowed money from the banks. So therefore, I think now is a time that we need to, repay what is due before we plan on building anything new again. But of course, we do have ideas to build in Balapitiya. We have an idea to build in Trincomalee, in Upuveli. We have land. We have a land bank. So when things settle down, we'll certainly build something which will add value to the destination. Something unique like the lighthouse, like Villuvena in Sigiriya, like Kadruketa in Velavai, something very special. We now manage and own Saman Villas, which again is a very unique property built in the early 1990s, but it is the design is perpetual. It's not going to, the design is not going to change because it's a timeless design.
Hiran, when you look at where we are as an industry currently, right, and we grant you magic sort of snap of fingers, right? When you snap your fingers now, you will be able to change one thing in the industry. What would you change?
I would say confidence. The Sri Lankan people, Sri Lankan hoteliers, Sri Lankan travel agents need to have confidence. Without confidence, you can't go out and sell. I always think of cricket, right? Because I learned most of my management from my 2 cricket coaches. They used to say, even if you're not a cricketer, look a cricketer and go when you go out with confidence, right? When you go onto the field. So similarly, we have to believe that we have a fantastic product. We always run ourselves down. You talk somewhere, this is not there, that is not there, this is weak, this is weak. We always put our people down. When somebody outside comes, that's fine. So we have to have confidence in ourselves. We have fabulous cooks. We have fabulous F&B people. We have fabulous architects, designers, interior, all of that. So we have to be confident. Hey, we have the best product, right? We have the best service. We deliver this. Our food, Sri Lankan food, right? We have to be confident and say, you're not coming for 2 weeks to Sri Lanka to eat Swiss cheese or Argentinian steak or Scottish salmon. You're coming to experience the Sri Lanka, what the locals eat. We give that with confidence. We mustn't say, we don't have this, therefore we can't have high-end tourists. No.
Do you think that confidence crisis has got worse? Is it improving?
Well, after these last 3 episodes, I think, when the confidence was coming up, it crashed. Right. So now it needs to be boosted up again.
What gives you the confidence that we've seen the last of these crises? All 3 of these crises, the constitutional crisis, the COVID pandemic, and now the sovereign debt crisis. Very few people saw around the corner that this was there. What gives you the confidence to think?
I think the people have realized finally, that enough is enough, and then we have to now sort out the issues we have. Because if we continue to struggle, we are not going to solve these problems, right? I think the people, especially the governor of the central bank or the current leadership, understand that the economic issues must be sorted out first. It doesn't matter to us who runs the country. Honestly, it doesn't matter. We have to sort out the financial issue, balance of payments issues, because if not, even the people to be born in the future will be, being born as, international beggars. So therefore, I think it's important that we sort the economic issues out first and give confidence once again. Sri Lanka is a fabulous country. Nothing has changed to the beauty, to the environment, all of that. It remains as is. All we have to do is to promote the destination, invite the tourists to come here, invite the investors to come here, and take it forward from here.
You're sort of zeroing in on confidence that like took me by surprise. I didn't anticipate that from you. I thought you'd go for something fairly mundane, like, okay, we need a destination marketing campaign, which I'm sure we do. But you were pointing at something that can come only from the wisdom of having done this for so long. Brilliant. Let me now ask you to look at what we need to do in the short term. Confidence is surely still valid, but what 1 or 2 other things does the industry now need? I
think that the country image. Still people ask us, is there enough food to eat? If I come, will there be food? Will I be eating your food so that you will go hungry? That kind of questions are being asked. I have 3 sons. They ask, would you like to send your sons to our place? They can stay with us, So they think that these guys are going hungry here. So it's now we need to invite not necessarily travel journalists, any journalist who's willing to cover Sri Lanka. They must travel independently and they must write what they see. They must interview people on the streets, people everywhere, and write their own stories about what they see here. Because what you see here is quite different to what is being portrayed outside. It's completely different. The image still is, Sri Lanka is not safe. There is a food crisis. There's a petroleum crisis. All of these crises keep coming up. So we need to change that. And so the only way is a real image building campaign that needs to be carried out for, actually, it's not only for tourists, for the nation. For other sectors as well, whether it be garments, whether it be agricultural products or anything, people have to have that feeling that, I can place an order confidently that this guy will deliver the order to me. That image is necessary. That to me is the number one. And then, of course, there might be certain shortfalls in the product because for 3 years the products have not been, revamped a bit, freshened a bit. So that needs to be tidied up a little bit because people, when they come on a holiday, they need a good product.
A destination marketing campaign, a coherent strategy on marketing has been a call of the industry for the longest time. Do you like put your hands up and say, okay, how do we get this done? What are your thoughts about how the industry can get involved in this?
I think the industry is involved because industry members are also on the boards of SLTPB and the Development Authority and the Conventions Bureau and so on. The issue is there are too many rules and regulations. Trying to get a perfect campaign going. I have never come across a perfect campaign.
Sure.
You look at Incredible India, someone came up with that slogan and they, I know for a fact that at that time the Minister of Tourism didn't sign off on the campaign because he was not sure. The Secretary of Tourism took the challenge. He put his neck on the ground and ran with it, right? And see the success. So here, if we believe that country needs to be marketed, either the minister or the chairman of the SLTPB must take some bold steps and go for it. People will comment. You all are journalists. You will have your opinion. We, the industry people, will have. You can't satisfy everybody. Destination branding is, you can't get 1,000 people's views and do a campaign. It doesn't work. You have to really narrow down on what is best for the nation. Or where are we heading? Are we going on the sustainability and the luxury? And if that is the case, yes, go for it and market the destination.
So what do you think? We can't just sell sun, sand, and sea anymore. It's long history. So what is Sri Lanka's proposition, given the challenges it now faces with staff, with infrastructure? What should Sri Lanka's proposition still be? If you were confident and bold, what is that?
Be yourself. Sri Lanka showcase what Sri Lanka is. Our history, our culture, our nature, our products and services that we have, our beaches, beaches still attracts people. So show that and have come up with a slogan, but slogan is a slogan, right? But what is important is take this message to the world, what we have seen. Look at the Incredible India campaign. They came up with colors of India. They came up with festivals of India. They came up with, Ayurveda of India, whatever. So what we have, we show the world, right? So that's all we have to do. It's not rocket science, right? We can't show to the world what we don't have, So what we have, what we are good at, show the world and say, come and enjoy this. That's it. It's not, I think we are just trying to be somebody else's something, right? Instead of being what we are, what is good for us, what we offer from the bottom of our hearts. This is what we offer. This is what we have.
If you think, tell me if this is your view. If you think Sri Lanka should be positioned slightly up market, what is that market segment that we are going after, and what is that up market? What does that luxury mean?
See, it's like this. We have to showcase the best we have, right? And that is obviously attracting the high net worth traveler in different destinations. We may not have money to advertise or promote in every nation. So we have to decide, okay, these are the primary markets we will go to, but we will showcase this. That doesn't mean to say we don't want the,
Sure.
the one who will stay at a home or a Airbnb or something else. But if you look at airline advertising, which airline have you seen showing the chicken class, right? Emirates or British Airways or Singapore Airlines, they'll show their sleepers. How many sleepers do you have in an aircraft? Maximum 18, right? Whereas in the back of the house, you have 300 seats.
Sure.
But they don't advertise that. They advertise their best. But 300 are going at the rear.
Sure.
Right? So similarly, we showcase our best. However, everybody will be welcome. So, but our target market continues to be the ones who are willing to pay a higher price, because don't forget what I said earlier, even though our target of 2 million or 2.5 million people, our target also should be $200, $250 that person per day. Then only we will reach 5 billion maybe or more dollars a year, which then tourism will contribute more than 5% to the local GDP.
Now that you brought that daily spend, you're referring to 250 as the amount you'd like per person to be spending. That's great. I think officially have had a number almost up to COVID that it was around $150 per person per day.
Yeah.
How accurate do you think that number is?
Well, that I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But it's reasonably accurate because they will monitor the shopping, they'll monitor the food and beverage, and they'll monitor the entrance fees, and they'll monitor the hotel income. So, I mean, one can say there can be plus or minus something, but somewhat accurate.
You are, Hiran, I think Jetwing is primarily a mid to up market. It depends on which property you're
mainly on the upper scale, but sometimes we have a few on the mid-level as well.
If you think you didn't have these challenges, right? You're now going into peak season. You're going to get a rate per. You call this ARPU in tourism speak. Average revenue per room, whether you sell it or not. Right. There must be a number that you think you will hit in this season.
Yeah.
If things were ideal, what is that current number likely to be? And if things were ideal, what could it have been?
Well, if things were ideal in Sri Lanka, this winter we would have been pretty much 70-80% occupied. Because one thing is, don't forget, we are a very easy country to travel to right now. Travel is very complicated these days. Some governments changed their policies on COVID, rechanged, reintroduced, whatever. Luckily for us, our policies have been fairly firm, clear, and it allows people to travel into the country and get out of the country quite freely. So that's a big plus, right? So if without these unfortunate incidents, we would have had a good winter season. Now, with all this, still we are expecting a reasonably comfortable winter. As I speak, there is increase in arrivals, increase in bookings, confirmations are coming in. So we started the tourism back again in August this year. August was quite low. September there was a bit of a jump. October was better than September. November looks a lot better than October. And if this trend continues, December onwards is going to be much better.
What do you think in terms of, speak generally, you don't have to be very specific and Jetwing oriented, but what do you think in terms of, in the market segments you're catering to, what are, room rates or ARPUs likely to be in this season?
Will be low. Will be at least a good 30 to 40% lower than what we would normally get.
Right.
Because we have to attract people now, give them that bait to come here.
Right.
And then I think slowly from January onwards, we'll slowly start going back to our normal rates.
Right. So normal rates are not very far off then. If you think you can do that early next year.
Yeah.
Normal rates would be dollar rates that you charged maybe in 2019 before everything unfolded. Right. How do you make an investment case? Leave aside the confidence.
Right.
Yeah. You've seen it all, 35 years. you're different, right?
Yeah.
So, but typically those getting into the real estate side of hotels would need a lot more than that to be confident about making an investment. What is the logic currently that you, as a potential developer of hotel properties, what would you tell a potential investor about confidence?
See, one thing that we are not looking at, especially Sri Lankan hotel investors or hotel owners, they are not looking at the real estate appreciation most of the time.
Right.
They are only looking at, profit from operations, which is, of course, that's how you must look at. Because if you invest 10 rupees, you have to make sure you're making at least 1 rupee profit every year. If you don't get 7 to 10% return, you might as well put the 10 rupees in a bank and wait. So that has to be there. The hotel, when you invest, because the investment is fairly high, because the brick and mortar goes in, return takes a little time. Now, even in good periods, the first 3 years you kind of amble along and you position the hotel, market the hotel, all of that. It's only after the third year it starts making profits. On the other side, now I know a lot of investments take place in other countries where the investor is looking at the real estate gain. They'll get some hotel management company to manage it, but they'll look at, okay, I put 10 rupees now, after 5 years it's gone up to 18 rupees or 20 rupees, I take my 20 rupees and get out. And somebody else buys it, he holds for 5 years and sells. So that's another form of investment I think we must encourage, especially those international investors who are, coming in and who don't want to stay for too long. And, they might want to cash out because land is scarce in Sri Lanka, right? Land is not growing. So when you see a beautiful location, you build and then, okay, you do want to hold for 25 years, you sell off in 5 years, you take your returns and go. So that's another way. I'd like to see more people coming in, doing quality investments, and okay, if it changes hands from A to B to C, it doesn't matter.
Is Jetwing visioning a future for itself that involves investment in
that
real
manner?
estate? In that
In
manner?
a way, yes, because what we've decided is there are Hiran Cooray hotels, which started...
Hiran Cooray is your father.
Yes. So those are 50 years old, 45 years old. Those will not be touched, right? But what Shiromal and I and the rest of the team at Jetwing have done over the last 12 to 15 years, we have no nostalgic reasons or whatever. These are investments with also there are other shareholders in it as well. Right. So they also expect a return. Unfortunately, we've not been able to give them a return so far. So yes, so if these assets are able to be sold at a reasonable price, then we are open to sell them.
Does it worry you at any point? I don't know if worry is the right word, but do you sort of sit back, put your legs up and think, is it, are you making the most rational decisions? Have you always, does it matter that you make rational decisions? Because, there is that vision and the legacy that comes from your father, who was the founder of the business. He had a certain approach to sustainability, to the communities around them. Do you need this legacy to be defining you, or should you be a little bit more rational? Have you thought about that?
Well, these are all questions that, crosses your mind. Sometimes, you think, okay, if I had not invested in these, we'd have had the cash and we'd have put it in the bank and we'd have got 30% interest right now. Now instead, we have to pay the banks 30%, So you think, oh my God, when you think of it that way, only purely on the financial terms, you think, oh, if we hadn't done it and put the money in a bank deposit, would have been better. But then on the other hand, now I travel a lot by bus and train. Since July this year, I started moving more, especially outstations. And then when I travel and meet people, visiting our, they don't know who I am, right? And then they tell, are you going to that hotel? Yes, that's our hotel. People in the village say that's our hotel, right? And my God, thanks to this hotel, we have so many people have benefited, right? So without knowing Oh, I am. The people are telling me, oh, you're going there. Yes, thanks to this hotel. So many are. Then I think, my God, thank God. Even though this hotel is not made any money for us, the people in the village, the temple, everybody else has benefited from this. So that gives me a lot of comfort and satisfaction that, okay, one day definitely that real estate is there. We'll definitely make money out of it. But the local communities benefit more, and their benefits start immediately.
You've been traveling, you said, on public transport for several months now. Is that a period of rediscovery for Hiran?
Absolutely.
What are you expecting to find? Discover about
because
yourself?
actually I started traveling after listening to the governor speak at some business luncheon. Right? He simply said Sri Lanka cannot afford to spend this much money. Right? Just now, petrol has come down to 400 something, but we can't be pumping at 400 rupees a litre and just traveling merrily the way we did before, because whatever we do, money is going out. So we have to cut down. Just because you're getting 20 litres a week, you mustn't pump it and just, use it. Pump it for sure, but keep it for a rainy day, right? So because of that, I started traveling, and thankfully most of our colleagues at Jetwing use public transport. Most of our managers, trains, buses, all of that. It makes you meet people from different walks of life, different stories we hear. The reasons why people travel from A to B is completely different to what you and I would do, and sometimes people are so happy, traveling by train, traveling by bus, all of that. So yeah, it has opened, and my children also, they've started. They never went by bus before. Now these guys are experts in jumping in buses, trains, and whatnot, and going all over the place.
So your business, Jetwing, is now transitioning into a third
generation. Yes.
Your father founded it. You and your sister grew the business to what it is today, and now the third generation. I think all three of your sons are in the business.
Are working now. Yes.
In Jetwing. What do you tell them, as somebody who contributed significantly to Jetwing? What do you tell them? Is there a vision that they have to own? Is the legacy important? What is it?
I think it's important. They will hopefully carry the grandfather's values, the founder's values of honesty, tenacity, all of that, and contributing to the local economy as much as possible. I think that's the most important thing. I mean, okay, we are comfortably off at the moment, right? But every step we take, if we are contributing to the local communities, local economy, that gives us a lot of satisfaction. I think the boys, not only the boys, we have 3,200 associates with us. I mean, they are all committed to that. And whenever most of our people are leaving the country, I request one thing: when you earn your salary, please send it through the banking system. Please do that, because you got your education free, you got your health, medicine free from the hospitals. All you can do is send this money through the banking system. That's all. $500 maybe, $1,000 maybe. Just send it. You might get 10 rupees less, but that's your contribution to solving the country's balance of payments issue. And a lot of them, and they tell me, I never thought of that like that. I always thought, okay, I'll get 10 rupees more. That's more important to me, right? But when you tell them your contribution to solving this crisis is by sending the money through the banking system, they think, yes, my God, I feel happy now doing it, right? Similarly, I tell our associates, if you travel by bus or you walk, instead of using your tuk-tuk or your motorbike, you're saving that petrol, which means, you're saving our foreign currency going out again. And then they do it. Most of them follow it.
Did these crises force you to make decisions that you wouldn't have? You never thought you'd have to do?
Absolutely. I mean, again, I never went by bus after I left school. That was almost 40 years ago.
But
right?
you had thousands of employees.
Yeah. And I know.
Was it a tough time?
Yeah, very tough time. I mean, when we, especially the first round where we had to, voluntary salary reductions, and the guys suffered. I mean, there was no service charge for them. It was really tough for them. I mean, thankfully, they stomached it and waited. I mean, most of them waited. So it was. We had to be grateful to them. Because without them, there's no tourism industry. We need the people to serve, to welcome, all of that. So that's there.
Indeed, I agree. Hiran Cooray, thank you for joining the Rocketship Experience.
Thanks.